Hi again, you guys. Hope everybody's doing great. I can't complain. I'm recovering from my little spill that that I took last week, so that's gotten a lot better. I'm back running again, so I'm happy. Can't complain. Today's video, I leveled Gwendolyn recently. As you know, I did a little video showcasing her in my Hydra team because that was the main place I intended to use her. And today's video, I thought I would try her in my Iron Twins team as the person placing decreased speed because that's the thing of Iron Twins. Decreased speed is really important. So most teams just have some person whose job it is to place decreased speed. And as you guys know, it's not easy to find a champ that does that. Not every champ does that. Not a lot of champs do that. It's tough to find. And for a long time, Stag Knight was the best I had for my Iron Twins. And he's not super great at it because it's 30% chance to place a decreased speed. He will hit twice, so he'll get twice at it. It's going to book up to 50%. But I mean, 50%, it's a coin flip. That's not really good. And don't get me wrong, I like my team and it's been successful for me. I'm not going to sit here and say it's 100%, but it's easily in the 90s. And, you know, for what I have, I think it's a good team. I did a video on my team a while back. I do not expect anybody to have seen that. So the first thing I'm going to do is I will show you the team with Stag Knight so you can see what's up with that. And then we'll put Gwendolyn in and see what happens there. So I just recorded this yesterday just so we could get them on the same affinity and things. Oh, wait, this is the Gwendolyn one. That's not the one we want. I'm really good at this YouTube thing, guys. I don't know if you know. Okay, so Stag Knight. So team, Python, Rector, I know there's an I in there. It's just easier to say Python. Python, Rectordreth, Mithrala Lifebane in the lead, giving us accuracy aura. Stag Knight decreased speed, and then of course the star of the show is Geomancer because he's always the star in any team he's in because he's a attention grabbing little dwarf like that. Idea of the team is that even though you are theoretically punished for placing buffs in this fight, in that the boss's turn meter will start to go crazy if you start placing buffs without your decreased speed applied. The theme of my team is that we have so many buffs that we do not care. We have increased defense, we have block debuffs, we have perfect veil, we have shield, we have strengthen. So the theme is that we don't really care. Like here, you know, like look, we took 0 damage. There's like what, like a tiny little bit of damage taken here, but and then we just make the boss kill itself, essentially. And Stag Knight's job for me is just providing that little bit of decreased speed so that the turn meter is not going crazy every time I'm placing tons of buffs. And like I said, it's not a 100% team. Those are pretty hard to find. You would maybe need a speed tune. But I think for what it is, for the champs it has, it's a team I'm proud of on my account, I guess. Because I thought of it by myself and all that good stuff, and it took experimenting. So I like my team. The weakness is obviously Spirit Affinity. I've got 3 Force Red champions, so that's definitely the place it's most likely to fail. And really, the times it will fail is if Stag Knight gets really unlucky with this 50% chance to place decreased speed. Turn meter starts going cuckoo, that's when it's going to fail. So it's his fault, basically, is what I'm saying. And this is honestly a slow run. Over 2 minutes, I would say that's really slow. But it's, it's random because it's not a tune. It depends, when these buffs are getting thrown off and, does the Geo HP burn get resisted? Sometimes you can get unlucky, but still a win. That's the team. Obviously, Geo star of the show. And you can see this will go as low as like 110. It pretty much the same for all of the affinities. All 4 affinities. Geo, obviously the star of the show. Mithrala with the increased accuracy aura in the lead because you do need like, I think it's like 550 accuracy for this fight. So I do have a Geo with over 500 accuracy. I've got my 2 supports, my decreased speed man. So let's come back to the game, and I'll show you Stag Knight's kind of kit and build just so you can see how it actually is like a good, Gwendolyn is a good substitution for it, I guess. Because obviously, Stag Knight, this is an extremely, extremely simple kit. He's known for the Hunt Master, you know, the decrease attack, decrease defense combo on everybody. But if you notice during the fight, I don't even have that turned on. I exclusively want him placing the A1. I exclusively want to keep this decrease speed applied at all times. And the nice thing about Stag Knight is that he has his increase accuracy passive. Anytime anybody on your team gets resisted, he's just going to passively go ahead and give them a little increased accuracy. And the nice thing, or amazing thing really, is that he can give it to himself, and he's constantly placing this double hit. So if he gets resisted on one of the hits, he's going to increase his own accuracy, and then he has far more accuracy than needed for the foreseeable future. So it's, you know, for the second hit. So it's actually, I don't think I was that smart. I did not foresee it working that way when I made the team. I just noticed it as the team was going, and I was like, oh my gosh, that's actually like perfect synergy. He's just boosting his own accuracy. So the nice thing about that is I have nothing, absolutely nowhere near the amount of accuracy you need for that fight. I've got Mithrala in my lead, so I've got an extra 80 here. And again, I'm just giving myself 50% more accuracy for the entire fight, which gives me far more accuracy than I could ever need. So he's a super cool champ in that way, just sort of lowering his own accuracy requirement. Then if we go over to Gwindolyn, here she is, our owl friend. And you can see she's actually got a very similar thing going on, because she has AoE, that's silly sounding. She has increased accuracy for the whole team. So she will also make it so that you don't need these kind of absurd accuracy requirements. So a very similar thing there. And then of course she's got the sickle boomerangs, which is applying like every, you know, good debuff in the game, or a lot of them. If this had Hex or something, it'd be like the most broken ability ever created. But we've got decrease speed, leech, and additionally over Stag Knight, decrease accuracy, which is pretty nice because he's gonna come at you with that you know, the Iron Brand, which is increasing the damage that your team is taking throughout the fight. So that's definitely a nice little debuff to add into there. And then of course we've got debuff extension, you know, we've got the accuracy, we've got our passive. That's my build. You might notice it's slightly different than my Hydra build if you happen to watch that video. And I do say slightly. I think I changed out like these two items maybe, just to get her a little more survivability, because Iron Twins is a tougher fight. So I did that. And I think in general, if you were building this champion with the intention of putting it in an Iron Twins team, you should go a lot tankier than this. Yeah, but I just threw in the existing one that I had built. I didn't too much effort into it, and I just said, hey, let's see what happens. So that was me, and you might go in a totally different direction, and that's fine, and yeah, go for it. So let's take a look at the Gwindolyn run, see how she fared. Maybe I can even click on the right video this time. No promises though. Seems to be correct. Okay, so exact same team I had before. We've just got Gwindolyn in for Stag. I did not adjust anything. I wanted to see what she would do. The AI, I didn't tune anything. Or not tune, but I didn't do any of the presets. I wanted to see what she would do. And she does lead with the increased accuracy, which is good because if she led with the sickle boomerangs, she would not land all those debuffs because she doesn't have the accuracy boost yet. So that's great that the AI is programmed to lead with that. In this particular instance, in Hydra or something, you probably want to lead with your decreased speed. But for this fight, yeah, I was like, oh yes, good. I'm glad she led with that, because that was not going to land without the help there. And I've got her in Relentless, and she's got her passive, which will give her an extra turn every time she uses, I think, 3 skills. So you are going to see her taking a lot of extra turns, multiple turns in a row, and we'll see what happens. Or I know what happens. I've seen this before. And then, like I said, I mean, one of the first things that happened is that she gets knocked flat. So if you have intentions of using her in this fight, definitely go a tankier build than me. Here she's taken like 3 or 4 turns in a row. Getting a little bit healed up. And that's the nice thing about my team. It's just a strong team in general. Like, yeah, she got knocked flat, but spoiler alert, it's still a win. So, and yeah, I mean, it's exactly the same as the Stag Knight fight, except she's our decreased speed person. Geo's the main show. Everybody else is keeping us alive with the buff. She's taking so many turns, actually. It's a little crazy sometimes. The other nice thing is look at how many turns of the debuffs we have. I know that these will get thrown off here in a sec, but I mean, I would rather have 9 turns of decreased speed than 1. I think we all would, so it does add that little bit of reassurance that, you know, that decreased speed is there until he manually takes it off. It's not going to expire. People are dying, but that's okay. That's our strategy. Little bit of a slow run. I think the other one was like 205, so we're coming up on 220. And we're done. Okay, so similar thing, like I said, a little slow, although honestly my first run with Stag Knight was a bit of an unlucky run, over 2 minutes as well. Geo's still the star of the show, nothing really changed. She did less than Mithrala even because Mithrala's got the poisons. So nothing crazy damage, but she's applying decreased speed, which is really, I mean, that's her purpose in this fight. The extra stuff that she does is cool, but at least for me, the increased accuracy, the nice thing is that you could bring a whole team and they all have less accuracy than they need. But for me, that's not how that played out because, like, this is a Mithrala Lifebane. Like, I have so much accuracy, you know. She's way over the minimum. Geo, I do not want him to get resisted, so my Geo does have, like, 550 accuracy. So, and then obviously these two aren't, like, debuff placers. So the full team increase accuracy isn't really coming into play here. But she is boosting herself, same as Stag Knight does. And then I ran this a few more times. I mean, you know, just to make sure it wasn't a fluke or something. Nothing crazy. It's basically exactly the same as that. This is a very, very slow run, though. This is like, oh, I don't think I've ever seen an Iron Twins match on my account go 3 minutes. So this is by far the slowest Iron Twins run I've ever had. And reason being for that is, I mean, there's like animations and stuff, right? She has to like run up to it. Whereas Stag Knight just kind of gets off that phew phew real quick. He doesn't move. And then in addition, she's taking all of these extra turns. So definitely it's going to run a little slower if that's something that concerns you. Personally, with Iron Twins, I don't think time matters at all. This is a boss fight that you can only do 6 times a day. Or up to 12. Up to 12. So this is a boss fight that I run 6 times a day. I will buy the extra keys. I will run this twice on the Void Day, which is like Saturday for me. It might be different for you depending on the time zone. So basically, I mean, hypothetically, even if an Iron Twins fight were to take an hour, like, you know, I'll just turn that stuff on before bed and it'll be done when I wake up. So this is a hard fight, and I think that just beating it in general with a high win rate is what matters. Time, I don't think matters at all. So if you are using her for the solution of you need to beat this fight, I think it's totally fine. Doesn't matter how slow it is. That shouldn't really be a concern. It's not like Spider where you might want to run it 1,000 times back to back at some point during your raid career, if you will. So there is our girl Gwindolyn. If you want to take another look at the build, like I said, I switched out a couple pieces to tank her up a tiny bit. I believe it was these two. Yeah, she had, you know, like a crit damage accuracy, Oh, storage is full. Of course it is. Of course it is. All right, so I'll sell something eventually. But yeah, she normally had a crit damage here with a little bit more accuracy. It was this one that I just showed you. So her build normally looks a little something like that for me. And my main use for her is Hydra. Based on the fact that these Iron Twins teams seem to be about equally effective, but the one with her is running slower, I'm going to stick with my Stag Knight in the meantime. Especially because, you know, I don't want to change her build, so she's more Iron Twins oriented. I want to keep her in her Hydra build, whereas Stag Knight, I think that's the only fight I'm using him in, so there's never any worries about me messing up his build or whatever. Oh, and by the way, this is his build. It's so old, but, you know, it's a good champ. It's functional. You don't need anything crazy. It's a Stag Knight. Like, you know, what do you want? It's the Stag Knight. Pull a little speed, little perception, and he's not even that fast, 220, and he does his thing. But thank you guys for joining me on that. I just wanted to test, you know, I looked at these two champs, similar abilities. I didn't have any decreased speed champs on my account at all until like a month ago. So it's fun to finally be able to experiment with this debuff, I guess. Although I'm exaggerating. I've had that Iron Twins team for like, I don't know, almost a year or something, but Stag Knight, he's a single target decreased speed applier, whereas what I was really on the hunt for was someone who can do it AoE. And we finally have those, so that's good. But again, thank you guys for joining me, and I hope you enjoy your weekends, which is coming up, and take care of yourselves. Goodbye!